You ever watch an Adam Sandler comedy and wish you were getting a little more out of it than literal shit? Well, lucky for you, The Favourite exists. The accents,
I'm sorry, I do not know what to do.
dresses, and set pieces do scream Oscar bait period piece, but instead of boring people with Parliament scenes,
Parliament and the nation.
The film entertains with silly but pointed humor such as this scene. Later, we find out this mud is actually poop. But instead of just being a poop joke, a la The Ridiculous Six, Emma Stone's character, Abigail, falling in poop also establishes her character's status.
Who are you?
My family fell on hard times.
The fall into mud, soon revealed to be poop, is both funny and essential to the film's narrative. In fact, most of the humor in The Favourite works both as a joke and a character or story beat, the way some of Charlie Chaplin's best films had gags that got laughs and also helped communicate a message. The message here being, one man with all the power might handle the world as flimsily as a child might handle a toy. All jokes have to do is make you laugh.
Last time I called Shotgun, we had rented a limo, so I fucked up.
But why settle for the bare minimum? A sight gag can do so much more for a narrative, and The Favourite proves it multiple times. Not only with the mud revealed to be poop moment, but also this scene.
I hoped I might be employed here by you. As something.
A monster for the children to play with, perhaps.
This little act out establishes Abigail's odd charm. This is an essential trait to develop because her goal in the film is to become the Queen's favorite. It's a difficult task, especially for someone we already know doesn't have money or status.
My family fell on hard times.
In order to get the Queen's attention, she'll have to rely on something else. This scene, which comes early in the film,
I hoped I might be employed here by you.
tells us it's her charm that will win over the Queen. I mean, how cute and playful is that? The move gets a laugh from the audience, and there's no quicker way to prove one's charm than making someone laugh.
What if your butthole was in your armpit?
The Queen is not in the scene, but because Abigail has won us over, we believe she has the potential to win the Queen over with that same humor. Without the move, her eventual seduction of the Queen isn't believable.
If I were a man, I would ravish you.
As if being essential to the believability of the film weren't enough,
You have become close to Abigail.
the fact that she is impersonating a monster also foreshadows that Abigail will do some monstrous things in order to become the favorite. With just one little act out, the film establishes an essential character trait, propels a character's arc, and foreshadows the end of that arc. But Emma Stone isn't the only one delivering these layered comedic moments.
Look at me! How dare you! Close your eyes!
Olivia Colman plays the mopey Queen Anne, and she does it brilliantly. In this scene,
We went for something dramatic. Do you like it?
her look of disappointment after being told she looks like a badger,
You look like a badger.
it reminded me of the moment in Andy Kaufman's Saturday Night Live set
Promise I will not be here again.
when he stages a breakdown.
What is so funny about that? I don't know.
There's something about the way they move their faces.
Do you really think you can meet the Russian delegation looking like that?
It's like a child throwing a temper tantrum. But the reversal of them being adults makes it less annoying and more hilarious. Like Kaufman, Coleman allows us to laugh at her misfortune through her temper tantrumy facial expressions. Coleman does it again in a Parliament scene where she contorts her face into one reminiscent of this all-time classic meme. She's hearing about how downtrodden her kingdom's become, but like she did in the Badger scene, she expresses herself in a way that is so exaggerated, it invites you to laugh.
Staring, weren't they? I can tell even if I can't see, and I heard the word fat, and ugly.
While making you chuckle, the film is also showing the audience how volatile the Queen's emotions are.
Everyone leaves me.
One moment she's depressed, the next she's mad,
How dare you! Close your eyes!
the next she's horny.
You're jealous.
Whatever Queen Anne feels, she feels extremely. Her big emotions allow for some great comedic moments.
How dare you!
But it is also a comment on the humanity of people in power.
I'm the queen.
But you are mad.
Queens, emperors, presidents, a position of power does not make one indestructible. Those deemed elite are flawed and sometimes too flawed to have the responsibility they have because their flaws leave them susceptible to corruption. Queen Anne's mental fragility due to her past,
She's been stalked by tragedy.
often left her uninterested in ruling.
Mrs. Morley, we are at war.
We won.
Oh, it is not over. We must continue.
Oh. Oh, I did not know that.
And more interested in whoever gave her the most
To
attention.
see you trying to win me, why, what is not to love, my dear?
She was not a bad person. If anything, she was mentally ill and unfit for the amount of power she was expected to command. Stripping the illusion of perfection surrounding the elite is one of the film's many goals, and Colman's Kaufman-esque, all-too-human expressions were essential in achieving that goal. But they were not the only tool used. The ultimate stripping of the elite's perfection is done in a scene involving Rachel Weisz's character Sarah and Joe Alwyn's character Masham. The two of them participate in a dance that goes from seemingly formal to something that could have shared the stage with Napoleon Dynamite. We see Sarah do Vogue. We see Joe do moves that would fit right alongside Fortnite dances. It is arguably the funniest scene in the movie, but also one of the most poignant. The dance going from formal to foolish is a comment that coexists with the one made by Olivia Colman's moments of physical comedy. Just because Queen Anne wears a crown does not make her immune to emotional turmoil. Just because Sarah and Masham are royalty does not make everything they do perfect. Just because the elite live in shinier buildings does not make them shiny themselves. Someone has to call the people in power on their crap, and the movie makes a point of doing that by making the elite look stupid, corrupt, or unfit for power. Criticizing people in power is not the most original thing in the world. Tune into any late-night television show and you'll see people talking about how much of a joke the US president is.
We have the results of their IQ test right here. Tillerson scored a 120. It's above average, not genius, but still pretty good. And we have Donald Trump's results right here. It's a drawing of a big truck that says MAGA. And there's Trump right there.
The Favourite stumbled at finding an original critique to throw at the elite, but with so many films full of pointless comedic stunts, it is refreshing to see a movie take physical comedy and use it to, of course, make people laugh, but also remind audiences they should be wary of people in power, rather than just remind people that poop is sometimes funny.